Wake up, wake up. It is April the 4th. That's right. Giants home opener today. A lot of Niners to talk about. Warriors beat the Lakers last night. Steph's tailbone is sore. We got a lot to get to. Let's get to it right here.
Hopefully you got Wake Up as a 1 seed advancing to your Final Four. Larry, we got a stacked Final Four tipping off on Saturday as well. It is a really good time for sports in the calendar. It's great to have everyone back here. Like and subscribe over on the Plus. We are brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches and our good friends over at the Dubliner. As always, Larry, let's get the business out of the way and we'll hop right into it.
Yeah, well, good morning to everybody. Happy April the 4th, our first show here in the month of April. And all I got to say is I'm happy to be here. And, of course, thanks to our sponsors, Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. It's all good, but go say hi to them. Tell them that Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. My good friend Anthony Catania down there in Pacific Grove, California. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue. He's at 831-521-5264 right there on the Monterey Peninsula for all your sports cards and collectible needs. And, of course, last but certainly not least, Claudaddy Arcades has been a great sponsor for us as well. Follow them on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades and find a location near you. And let's not forget LearnKey. LearnKey is a brand new sponsor for us. The show is sponsored by LearnKey's Upskill Academy, which just is an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. It doesn't matter what field you're interested in. They offer over 30 different certification programs to help you take that next step in your professional career. They've been in business 37 years. They have helped over 200,000 students, and they place over 100 students a month in good paying jobs. And while you're leveling up your career with LearnKey's Upskill Academy, why not test your football brain as well? Thanks to LearnKey, we've got an NFL draft challenge. We're teaming up with LearnKey for a special April draft selection challenge contest where you can predict the top 12 picks of the upcoming NFL draft for a shot to win a $100 Visa gift card. It's totally free to enter. Just fill out the Google form linked in the description below with your predictions for 1 through 12 entries. Will be graded based on how many correct player to pick matches you get. First place gets a $100 Visa gift card. Second place, a $50 Visa gift card. Both winners get to come on the Krug Show during draft weekend. So hit that link, lock in your draft board, and let's see who really knows their stuff. Good luck, and big thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring this contest in our show.
Look, the number one way to just help this show right now in real time is to hit that like button. A great way to help support the channels is to like across both channels, super chat across both channels. We got merch on both channels, but really helping the channels is you go out and you support our sponsors. Larry, we got a lunch to go up to in Larkspur on Sunday, and on the way up there, I think we're going to stop at Pig and the Pickle and pick up a whole bunch of barbecue. That way I'm supporting you, and I'm getting good barbecue, and I'm supporting a fellow Damon. I'm very pro supporting all Damons. So that's, I think, the plan. Jillian and I have already talked a little plan. I think Pig and the Pickle is in our offering on Sunday.
Well, you're going to love it. You know what you do is you get some of those little sides of the different sauces. So I think they have like 4 or 5 different sauces. Make sure you find the one that boys like. You showed
me how to eat there. We pigged out. I want some brisket mac. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean it's all amazing, but you also got to tell him like what's fresh today. What are you making today? Like because like sometimes he'll make stuff just that it's like it's the menu is like 95% set, but 5% variable. And like when I was there, the last time I was there, he made us these homemade chicken pot pies.
Ooh,
that were unfreaking believable. It was amazing. So yeah, Damon Stainbrook, the owner of Pig and a Pickle, he'll take care of you. And it's all good. It's all good. My wife usually goes barbecue chicken salad I usually go brisket sandwich, and the potato salad is amazing. So
Yeah.
there you go.
So Gabriel wants to know, but what about Sam's? Hey, we still love Sam's. We love Sam's Chowder House, but like, any and all advertising campaigns, things come to an end, but we got crazy love for Sam's Chowder House, and I will ride or die with that lobster roll till I'm gone.
Yeah. I mean, just because you're not hearing the Sam's ad doesn't mean that we're not endorsing Sam's.
Exactly. Don't think for a second. We actually ate those acai bowls that we were on a couple of years ago. We were eating them. We swear we are not selling you things that we wouldn't consume. God, that includes potential draft picks. And I guess that's why everyone's here. So Larry, let's start the show.
Let's do it.
Before we get into any names, because I got a name, and it's funny. Kevin asked me, what do you want to talk about today? I'm like, there's this wide receiver who I like. Larry's going to make fun of me. I shared the name. Larry jumps.
I've never made fun of you for one of your wide receiver picks.
Larry's going to jump in the chat, and no, he was like, actually, I really like that guy, and that's great. And there is now a need for wide receiver that is starting to become, more of the forefront of this draft. But we don't think they should use, at least I don't think they should use any of their premium, day 1 or 2 picks here. Who can they find at the back of this draft to help them as a wide receiver in this year who complements what they've already got and what they've don't got? To start that, before we even start unleashing names, I want to ask you, Larry, because it is, to me, one of the, here's a phrase that we weren't using 2 years ago, but I've heard it an awful lot this year. It was zone blitzing, then it was the wildcat. There's always new jargon that gets attached to every year. It seems
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's very so it's used.
Yeah, there's always new jargon, but there's usually, like, I'm talking about like jargon that is more like sports specific, not general sweeping. I don't want to talk about it, dodging questions type of phrases. The phrase that I'm talking about is route craft. It seems like
Minecraft, like
Minecraft, right? Route craft. And what it really means, and what I'm looking at, and the way that I'm trying to apply it to what's important to the 49ers is, what is the most important attribute in any wide receiver that they're about to add, not only because that's the right guy and you want to add him, but this is a guy who will help complement what you've already got. And we know their lack of depth at wide receiver leaves them needing a lot of wide receivers. What do you think is more important? Let's just start with this, Larry. Mm-hmm. Like, top of the route separation, straight line speed, a 40 time, a cone drill. Where is speed most valuable to a 49er wide receiver prospect you're adding in this year's draft? Do you understand the question?
No, actually, no. I don't. Are you asking what measurement of speed is the best measurement to study? Or are you saying,
what is the 49ers value? Do you think the guy who
what should Niner fans be studying as far as if they're trying to hone in on who the Niners are going to take at receiver? Is that what you're asking, kind of?
Straight line, go route
time, speed, 3-cone,
right. Like Cooper Kupp, the reason why I thought he might have fit the 49ers, even at his age, his price point, and the fact that he's slowed down, is there is maybe nobody who is better at the top of the route at the concept of route craft, breaking off precise routes at the top, just top of the tree. He's slower to get to the top of the tree than ever before, but once he's there, he can carve you up with, all sorts of just wide receiver ballet moves at the top of a route to create separation in the moment, maybe not running away from guys. What's most important for the 49ers?
Well, it's funny. We talk to Kyle all the time. He was a receiver, so he kind of probably sees it and he's very tough on the receivers, and maybe it's because he was a receiver. He has high expectations for the receivers. He has high expectations for the running backs and the quarterbacks too, but it's definitely a receiver. He talks a lot about separation. So to me, when you're watching college players, you're watching, college players against college corners. So I got to see separation. I'm not worried, Damon. I'm not worried about the 40 time because, I mean, I'm more worried about the 40 time with receivers and corners than I am with offensive linemen because offensive linemen never run 40 yards where receivers and corners do potentially run 40 yards. So it means more for receivers and corners than offensive linemen, let's say the 40 time. But there's also, and you've heard this expression, build-up speed. Guys who are heavy have build-up speed. So let's just say if you're charted them on a 40-yard dash, their first 10 yards are not that great, but their last 10 yards are super great.
By the way,
they're really cooking.
Isn't that Deebo Samuel? Wasn't he a build-up speed guy?
It's really anybody who's carrying over 210 pounds. And generally, I mean, there are other guys that are gliders and this and that, but generally, if you're over 210, you might have some buildup speed. In other words, you're not that quick, but man, you're really, like DK Metcalf has tremendous buildup speed. But how about this? DK Metcalf had a worse 3-cone drill than Tom Brady.
Right.
Tom Brady. So, I mean, he's like, basically DK Metcalf is the equivalent, if it was a car, of a drag racer. He can go incredibly powerful straight line, but he can't handle at all, right? I mean, he can't handle at all. He can't take any turns.
Right.
So what I think what you're looking for more than anything, if you're looking for a receiver, is don't look at the times, don't look at any of the measurables, and just look at the film. And if they don't, and just remember where the receiver is in relation to the defender at the point where the ball arrives. And if that receiver is right next to the defender, he's not getting separation. If he's quite a bit away from the defender, he is getting separation. And if you watch enough film, you'll see, enough of both, or, you'll see enough examples where it will tell you what the true thing is. Like, give you an example. The Stanford receiver, I think, has build-up speed. Alec Ayamanor. He's big. He's 6'2". He's 210, and he runs a great 40. But like Damon, I watched him for a half hour through every highlight I could possibly find. I could not find a catch that he made that the defender couldn't touch him. He was so close. So so I'm not a big Alec Ayamanor fan, even though he's a great kid and he's got tremendous size and good stopwatch speed. Not a big fan. Where Jack Betch, give me another example, the TCU receiver who played opposite Savion Williams this year. Jack Betch doesn't have a great 40 time, but he's such a good route runner and he's such a good receiver and in everything that he does kind of create separation despite the fact he doesn't have a great 40. And then there's Isaiah Bond, who creates nothing but separation. That's the Texas receiver. Every time you see him, there's 5 yards, 7 yards between him and the corner because nobody can stay with him because he's a super burner. I mean, he said he was going to run 4.21 or whatever, but he ran 4.35, whatever. Either way, he's electrically fast. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for separation. And if I don't see separation from college receivers, from college corners, almost guaranteed they won't separate in the pros.
So then let me ask you what you think the 49ers covet more. I'll call, for a lack of a better phrase or better jargon, bottom of the route speed or top of the route speed? What's more important, the guy who can just beat press coverage off the line or the guy who can put the boogie on the corner at the top of the route and break away up there? Just only because you use DK Metcalf, and I'm not saying that either one of these players is who the Niners need, but who do you think Kyle wants in this offense more than this year? A DK Metcalf-ish player or a Tyler Lockett-ish player? One guy is straight line, the other guy is boogie everywhere.
First of all, you've mentioned this guy so many times, dude, and I don't want to correct you, but I'm going to correct you on this one. You're confusing Tyler Lockett and Ricardo Lockett. They played on the same team together.
I am. I am putting
Ricardo was the Lockett, and Tyler is a Lockett. It doesn't
Lockett
was a Niner. Remember him? Ricardo Lockett, and then there's Tyler Lockett, who's free agent right now, and he may be a Niner as well. The Niners are rumored to be one of the teams.
It's not Larry Krueger; it's Larry Kruger.
Kruger. It's not Larry, it's Lowry. Anyway, like the seasoned salt. No, I think more than anything, what Shanahan's looking for, and we've talked about this before too. It's like, it's not as important in other positions that you have a diversity of skill set, but it is important at receiver. And so, like, every team is looking for something different, and it's usually something to complement the guys you got. So Miami's got Tyreek Hill and they got Jalen Waddle, and they're probably looking for River Craycraft. They're looking for somebody who could just run a route and get open and, move the chains. They would love a JJ. They would love a Pearsall because they've got burners. The Niners have JJ. The Niners have Pearsall. And so I think they're looking for somebody who complements them, and they don't have Debo, who, is a total unique skill set and can be very difficult to replicate. And they don't have Ayuk, and Ayuk was essentially, even though he's not a true burner per se, but he was their burner. He was their downfield receiver. So I think what they're looking for, if you said, to replace what they've got, I think they're probably either looking for somebody like a Debo, who I would say would be like Savion Williams in this draft. 6'4", 225. He's really good on all the bubble screens and all the, run after the catch and all the stuff right around the line of scrimmage. And then
he's gone in the first 48 hours of the draft, right? He's a day 1 or 2.
Possibly. I mean, he's listed here as the 11th wide receiver on the list I'm looking at, slated to go 96, which would be right at the end of the third round. So he's a third round, fourth round guy for sure. Day 2, day 3, probably day 2, but the way receivers are. Sometimes receivers fall for whatever reason. So I would say probably beginning of the fourth round, maybe end of the third round, but he's the Debo. And then as far as who's the Ayuk, I mean, it's hard to say, but to me, there's two guys, and they're both there's probably 2 or 3 guys. One is day 2 guys, Trey Harris from Ole Miss, Isaiah Bond from Texas. They're just bigger receivers Isaiah Bond's, 6 feet roughly, but they're down the field guys who make plays down the field. Harris is a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a route runner. Bond is a little bit less of a route runner, but a lot faster. So those are the guys I think that would replace Ayuk. And yet I don't think they're going in that direction, because I think, as you've stated and we've both stated, wide receiver is not at the top of the list, right? So it's down the list. It's on the list, but it's not at the top of the list. So
it's an important part of this offseason, but it's not the most important part.
I don't think it's going to be prioritized. Now, it could be wrong. I was doing a live stream last night with Jake Hutchinson, and Jake and I were talking about we both really like Luther Burden quite a bit from Missouri. Greg Cosell did a whole breakdown the other day of all the receivers, and he clearly loves Luther Burden the third. And Luther Burden's a downfield guy. I mean, Luther Burden was the number 1 high school receiver the year he came out. He chose Missouri over Georgia and Alabama, and like the entire state of Missouri, like took a day off work or something. It was
no one could. That was one of the. What did they pay that guy?
It was like the same reaction that the Pelicans front office had when they got Zion. It was like elation. It was like, oh my God, we've seen the Lord. So Luther Burden had a kind of a disappointing year this year, but he's this East St. Louis guy who's tough, and he can get vertical. He's really a great player. I could see the 49ers trading back from 11 into the mid-20s and, garnering more selections on day 2 and day 3 for their efforts to move back, and maybe even starting their draft in the 20s with a Luther Burden. So it's like, I know it seems unlikely that they would start with a wide receiver second year in a row. And I definitely don't think they would at 11. But if they trade back into the 20s and they get extra picks, and they've decided that they love Luther Burden the third, I could definitely see that. The other guy I could really see with the Niners, even though I personally don't love it, but I could picture it, because Emeka Egbuka for Ohio State is probably, Damon, the most ready receiver. He's very polished. He's been in college a long time.
He's the second best wide receiver on his own college team. It's too bad the freshman can't come out.
Well, he's never been. I mean, literally, he's never been. He's probably going to go in the first round, maybe early second. He's never been Ohio State's best receiver. That's how good Ohio State's receivers have been, from Garrett Wilson to Jeremiah Smith and everybody in between. But this guy, Emeka Egbuka, is a tremendous route runner. Head fakes, and he sells his fakes, and he's really, really, really polished, like a third or fourth year receiver. He's going to step in right away and contribute. I'm a little concerned, to be honest, that the Niners, desperate to, serve multiple masters. Oh, we need to get better. We need all these positions, but we also need to win this year. And I'm afraid that they may go across the board with the guys who are ready to play right now. And people say, why would you be afraid of that? Well, just because you're choosing the guy who's ready to play right now, who might be Ricky Pearsall, very
right.
polished. I'm really sick and tired of watching the 49ers draft low-end Mike McGlinchey, Solomon Thomas, Ricky Pearsall. Stop drafting low-end first-round picks. Start drafting guys who could be stars.
Ceiling or the floor is this argument, right? This is these. What do you need? What do you need?
I need a high ceiling. That's what I need. I need in the first round. I mean, your first-round picks have to be the best players on your team. If you're drafting guys who are safe first-rounders, who aren't really first rounders, but they're pretty safe because you like their personality and their character and all this stuff, that's great. But guess what? Ricky Pearsall, at no point in our lifetime, is going to be the best receiver in the NFL. I mean, I feel totally confident in saying that. And yet he was a first round wide receiver a year ago. So, I mean, it's draft higher end guys. Your failure rate is through the roof. You've missed 20 times in the first 3 rounds. You've missed 10 times alone in the third round. You don't essentially know what you're doing. So, stop going for low-end guys. Stop trying to hit singles and strike out trying to hit a single. Go up there trying to hit a home run, and if you strike out, you strike out. Try to hit a home run. Try to go for somebody who, dare to dream, could be one of the best players on your team. I like Ricky Pearsall. I think he's a good NFL player. I think he'll be okay. He's never going to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I don't see it.
Right.
He just doesn't have the kind of skill set.
One of the best receivers in the NFL, but he does need to be one of the best receivers for the 49ers. I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't need to go to Pro Bowls. He needs to get first downs and appear in the end zone every now and then, and he will serve his purpose just fine. I mean, here's the thing.
I mean, Amon-Ra was taken by the Lions. He wasn't taken in the first round, and he is one of the best receivers in football. Let's try that.
Well,
let's try finding the best receiver in football in the second round instead of taking safe players that we know won't tell us to fuck ourselves to our face, but also can't play dead. I mean, Solomon Thomas is probably great at a cocktail party. He's just not as good as a defensive lineman. I mean, and you took him in the top 5. That was a huge mistake. Huge. Ricky Pearsall is a great guy. I like him, and I think he's going to have a nice NFL career, but he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Jerry Rice. He's not even approaching those guys. He's not even in their category. So I just want to see them hit at a higher rate, but also take a little bit more aggressive swings on some guys in all rounds that potentially could be great. I'll take a bust here or there, Damon, get a star player.
Well, let me get back to where the thumbnail started this conversation with, like, a day 3, this kid could come in and play wide receiver for the 49ers, knowing that is Kyle's single most persnickety position, and he's as hard to please as humanly possible at wide receiver with his first round picks, much less his late round picks. Who might work? And since you said the Debo or the Ayuk, let's just call it that too. Late round pick. Larry, you're such a draft
dork.
You love this stuff. I was afraid that you were going to hate this, but you already said that you liked it, so I know. I like guys who are billed as something special early, and then for whatever reason show you a level of talent, but don't quite live up to their hype and their billing, and they're clearly uncomfortable, and there's just constantly changing situations, looking for better situations, but there's a degree of production and talent that is there. Mario Williams is a small wide receiver. He's like 5'9", and I don't even know if that's a combine measurement. If that's a school measurement, that means he's 5'7.5", right? But he's 5'9", and he has been to like 3 or 4 different colleges. Every single place he has been, he's a touchdown. He's a touchdown. This guy scored a ton of touchdowns in high school. He scored a ton of touchdowns at 3 different collegiate stops, including Tulane, where he spent last year. And this guy, you would expect a small producer like this to be incredibly fast. He isn't. But what he is strong as hell. He's like a fire plug, and he wins at the top of the route. Route craft. Back to the phrase, the draft, according to these wide receivers. He wins at the top of the route. He gets that ball's right to be about here level of separation. And I think if you finally put this guy in a good team and in a good situation and put some stability around him, which he hasn't had in his football career because he's always transferring to another school, I think there's something there. Now, if that's too small for the 49ers and they're looking for a bigger guy, there's this kid from Arkansas, Andrew Armstrong, who is 6'4". The problem with him is he doesn't score touchdowns, but he's like 80 catches and 1,000 yards. He was awesome everywhere but in the end zone. So that's his flaw. I think both of those guys, if Andrew Armstrong or Mario Williams were a day 3 pick by the 49er, I like either of those guys. And they're 2 totally different guys, which is why I feel stupid for bringing them up, because how can you like one and the other when they're so polar, like total opposites? But that's why, you need different,
and yet they're both good.
Do different things.
I like them both. I mean, okay, so let's talk about Mario Williams. He was at, he's an incredible player, and I do like the guys who were thought to be great a long time ago, and you'll see it when you listen to Kuiper and Field Yates go back and forth or whatever, or some draft guys. Sometimes they'll shout out a guy, and you'll be like, I've never even heard of that guy. And then like 9 times out of 10, he was a 5-star coming out. Right. And he just didn't make it. It just didn't happen.
High school Gatorade All-American who didn't.
Yeah. Just didn't, just for whatever reason, or just, went to too many schools, too many coaches, too many situations, mixing an injury or two. And then they just never got any momentum going in their career. But Mario Williams was regarded as the country's #1 wide receiver by ESPN in the COVID year, 2020. He was a senior at Plant High School in Tampa, Florida. And in his high school career, he caught 160 balls for over 3,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. So he was an incredible touchdown guy in high school, and he was a 5-star guy. He was also a baseball player, and went to SC, majored in communications, and played there, and then left there for Tulane. And
wasn't there was somewhere else? There was
Oklahoma
school. Yeah,
Oklahoma. There was Oklahoma. So he spent 2-year career. It was a 2-year career, 1 year at Oklahoma, 1 year at USC. And in those 2 years, he had 75 receptions for over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. And he also is a kickoff guy. He had 7 kickoff returns. And so there you go. That was the first 2 years.
Right.
Then he moved to Tulane, and had another good year. And you saw the numbers this year. I think he scored 9 touchdowns or whatever. He's not the biggest receiver. I mean, we're talking 5'9". He's pretty strong, but he's explosive. And as you said, he scores touchdowns. And he's probably going to be a day 3 guy. And
he's definitely a day 3 guy. He's got all sorts of red flags about him. Who looks to go
he may be a no day guy is my point. You know what I mean? He may be a day 3 guy, Damon, but like, give you an example. There's 257 picks in the draft. This guy's listed overall on the list I'm looking at prospect number 435. So
Oh, so
I
I'm
would
way
say
off the board on this guy. See,
no. You're right. You're right. He's a day 3 guy. He's a day 3 guy or a day, post day 3 guy. He could be an undrafted free agent, which I think is ultimately what he's probably headed towards. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and this guy is a shiny object that somebody may really love in the 7th round and say, "Give me that guy. Give me Mario Williams." Because what happens is you get tortured by endless reams of data about 40 times in workout numbers. And then what happens is the real football players, as we get closer to the draft, start to rise back up, even if they don't have the measurables, because everybody's looking going, well, Mario only ran this 40 and he didn't run that. Yeah, but you know what? He scored 9 touchdowns and the guy that you like scored none. So why don't we go with Mario, So, I mean, there's a lot of that, as we get closer to the draft. The guys who produce, give you another example, Xavier Restrepo. They're both slot receivers, okay? Restrepo ran 4.6 or 4.
You got to give me a college on him. Who's Xavier Restrepo? Okay.
He played next to your guy, Sam Brown, right? Okay, yes. So Restrepo is a tiny little guy, 5'9", 200 pounds. But you know what? He is an awesome receiver, like one of the best receivers in the country as far as just ball skills and catching the ball. And as we get closer to the draft, he's going to shoot back up the charts. But he ran a god-awful 40. A lot of people thought he tanked the pro day because he ran so slow and it didn't look like he was really going 100%. And I think he probably did as well. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure he has a reason. And so a guy like that, even though he ran a terrible 40 and he's tiny, and right now they were saying second round, third round, then they were like, oh my God, that 40, he's a 5th, 6th round guy. Well, guess what? When the draft rolls around at the end of the month, he's probably going to be there in the third or 4th round because he is a great receiver. You know what I mean? So generally the good football players kind of sift through the workout of hysteria of February. And by April, the good football players are once again prioritized. Generally.
Can we talk about
if we're talking about receivers though? Who do you like? I as far as for me, day 3, there's a couple guys that I think are really, really good.
Well, wait, before you go, can I get I want your thumbnail on Andrew Armstrong, because again, I'm handing you very weird prospects, because Andrew Armstrong has a college career almost in reverse. He scored fewer touchdowns the deeper he got into his career, but he became a better player as well. Like in 2022 at Arkansas, 62 catches, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. 2023, 56 catches, 764 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then in 2024, his most catches, his most yards, but only 1 touchdown with an average of 14.6 yards per reception. It's like none of that makes sense when you add it all together. How can you produce that little when you produce that much?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't get caught up in that. This guy led the SEC this year in receptions.
Right.
So he led them. He led the entire conference.
Under any circumstances, have more than a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they ran the ball a lot in the red zone. I know the head coach likes to run the ball. They have LaQuindon Jackson. I mean, they had some guys there. Maybe it was a quarterback situation, but he did lead the SEC in receptions this year with 78. He led them in yards with 1,140, and he averaged 103 yards per game, best in the conference.
So why is he being touted as a day 3 guy? Why wouldn't the guy being an SEC wide receiver leader be a first couple round guy? What's the problem?
I could type in, as anybody could, Andrew Armstrong,
right,
40, and let's see what it is. There it is. He ran an official 4.51. So he ran a slow 40. In the grand scheme of things, he ran a pedestrian 40.
4.6. It's not a 4.
Yeah, no, and it's close to 4.4, right? I mean, it's close to 4.49. But and he's a big boy too. I mean, we're talking about a 6'4" receiver.
He's 6'4". He's huge. He's fucking huge.
Yeah. He's, I mean, a lot of people really like this player. Arkansas's had some big, fast guys. They had Matt Landers, who was also a big 6'5" guy who was super fast. This guy's obviously not as fast. This guy's a good receiver, though. Not only that, I mean, he's very consistent. I mean, he caught a pass in 39 straight games to end his college career. He had 500-yard days in 2024, including 9 for 128 against Missouri in late November. So, I mean, he's a big time talent. He's a day 3 guy for sure, but he's going to be drafted, and he's going to be playing the NFL. No, I like him. I mean, now he also is right there on the bubble because he's listed at pick number 321. So he's in that mix of receivers that could or could not go in the 7th round. I'll give you a couple guys that I really like. One is, everybody's talking about Jackson Dart. He may go top 10. I'm not a big Jackson Dart fan. Why? Because I loved all of Jackson Dart's receivers. And, they didn't even make it to the college football playoff. To me, the guy that we already talked about was Trey Harris. He's going in the 2nd round. He's maybe going to be the best receiver out of this draft, at least as a rookie. I don't know. I like Burden long-term. A lot of people like the other guy from Arizona, but I think Trey Harris is really good. Then they also have Juice Wells, who's going to go probably 5th round. And then they got this guy, Jordan Watkins from Ole Miss, who is listed as prospect, the 40th wide receiver. He's listed at number 372. So he probably isn't going to get drafted, but he ran 4.37. He's short, but powerful, 5'11", 200 pounds. I love Jordan Watkins, man. I mean, he had 254 yards in 5 touchdowns in that game against Arkansas earlier this year. So love Jordan Watkins. I think he's flying beneath the radar. He ran a great 40, and he's a really good receiver. I mean, the production's there. So I really like him. I really like Rock Taylor from Memphis, another receiver who's tough, 6'3", 215 pounds, very, very physical, very, very explosive. Like him a lot. And then there's a guy who there's 2 guys actually that kind of remind me of Jawan Jennings in this draft. One of them's Elijah Badger from Florida, who's also 7th round undrafted guy, in that margin. And the other guy is the Illinois kid, Zachary Franklin, who started at Texas San Antonio and transferred this year to Illinois. He's 6'1", 190. He doesn't run a great 40. Like his 40 is just totally, he's like Jawan, right? He doesn't run a great 40. But this guy is also like Jawan in that he's very crisp in the movements. He's quick into the break. He's quick out of the break. He's really good. I mean, he's really, really good. The guy's he doesn't drop the ball. He's got great ball skills, Damon. And like, he'll catch it in a crowd and guys will hit him and he'll still hold on. So, what do you think of Oregon? Schools. He's actually Texas San Antonio to Ole Miss to Illinois. But yeah, Zachary Franklin.
What do you think of Oregon's Tez Johnson?
I love Tez. Yeah, I love Tez. Tez is a slot receiver who didn't run fast. Now that's a little concerning because he is the smallest guy there is. Right, he's 5'9", 155 pounds, and he ran 4.5.
A little bit of Mario Williams, to be honest with you, the Tulane kid that I was talking about.
Mario's 30 pounds.
In order to survive at that size, they got to be lightning fast, but they're not.
Yeah, I mean, Tez is pretty amazing. If you saw him against Penn State, he caught 11 balls for 181 yards. If you saw him in the practices in Mobile, he nobody could stay within 5 yards of him. But if you hit him, he's dead. You know what I mean? He's like literally never going to play again. So I like him. He's unique. He's not my favorite slot receiver. I like Jalen Noel from Iowa State and your guy Mario Williams. I like him later I like Jimmy Horn, from Colorado. I like some of these other guys. More value. Like they list Tez at 64, which means at the end of round 2. And I don't think he's going there. I think he's probably a day 3 guy. But if Tez is on the board in the second half of the 5th round, I'd be interested. Before that, probably not.
Wide receivers. The 49ers need one of them. They're going to draft a wide receiver for sure in this draft, and maybe even take a flyer on 2 in the back end of the draft. We'll see. Maybe like you said, there is some. What the Niners end up doing in the undrafted market is going to be interested too. But that's not even worth a video or a conversation about who might be undrafted and who they should pick.
Here, this is an interesting name too, by the way. Callie Kidd says Ricky White. And then Chris Oleg goes, Ricky White is slow. Callie Kidd says 4.4. They're having this debate back and forth. Chris Oleg says Ricky White 4.61.
Look at it this way. I can tell you.
Callie Kidd says just ran a 4.4 at his pro day. Let me just say one thing about this guy before we.
I don't watch enough UNLV basketball football to say anything, so I don't know who he is.
Okay, so this is a 6'1" receiver from UNLV, who is, I think, really, really good. Ricky White III from UNLV, 6'1", 190. What's super intriguing about this player is the back end of your receiving core are guys that have to play special teams, right? This kid's from Marietta, Georgia. He started at Michigan State. He transferred to UNLV.
He produced 79 catches, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns last year.
But not only that, he was the Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year. This guy blocked by himself 4 punts. No team in FBS blocked 4 punts as a team. And this player blocked 4 punts by himself, Ricky White. So he's an all academic All-American. So he's a really smart kid, team captain, already earned his bachelor's degree in human services, is pursuing a graduate degree as well. So he's a smart, dedicated student. He's an incredible skill. He's got incredible skill to block punts coming off the edge, most likely. And he runs these shallow crossers. He's not the biggest guy, right? He's 190. But he can contribute. He's not wimpy or anything. This guy, he's also a basketball player in high school. He's from Marietta, Georgia. I really like this kid. I think Ricky White on day 3 could be a very attractive pick. I mean, look at it this way. If the Niners draft Ricky White in the 6th round and he becomes their final wide receiver on their roster and he blocks 2 punts next year, half of what he did last year, he's going to be like, whoa, that guy really helps us on special teams.
Dude, he'll be in Len Eschmont consideration.
he'll be parking in Brant Boyer's parking spot at the facility if he blocks 2 punts. But he's wiry and strong, and he's got good ball skills. And yeah, Ricky White the third. I take a look at him in the 6th round. He'd be nice.
By the way, I got to agree here with Trip Aces saying this is just drafturbation. It is. I'm so sick and tired of. I'm tired of playing with my draft. I wish it were tonight. I'm ready to get it going. Like Kevin did. He's like, "What do you want to talk about today?" I'm like, "I want to talk about how sick and tired I am of draft lead up, run up. I've had so many different names from schools that I don't watch in conferences that aren't on my TV. And I'm running to YouTube and I'm Googling freaking ridiculous names every day, trying to figure out who the hell's out there. I'm tired of it. Just to start this freaking thing. Let's do it. I'm ready to go.
Chris Oleg says, Larry says, go for a stud receiver. Now he's looking for a special teams wide receiver. Well, you got to think of 2 things. You got to think of, is there a receiver out there that will change your football team? Like, love him, hate him, whatever. Deebo Samuel is a receiver that will change your football team, and did, right? He changed the Niners. And so now you don't have him anymore. So can you find a receiver early that is a Deebo that can change your football team? And for that guy, Chris, I would say it's Luther Burden. Okay. But then once you get out of all the guys that can change our team are gone. Now you're just looking for, can I find a receiver that can make my team?
Right. Can this person fill a role that we need filled?
Yeah, and can he be on my team? I mean, let's look at receiver for the 49ers right now. Who are going to have the spots? Ayuk's getting one, despite the fact he'll start on IR. And then you got Pierce. So you got Pearsall, and you got Jennings, and you got Demarcus Robinson, and you got Jacob Cowing, who will not be on scholarship this year. He was on scholarship last year. So you got those 4 guys, right? And then you may have Ayuk at some point. I'm
maybe Tyreek Owens is a maybe, but a full unknown, and
Owens
he won't be prioritized over anyone that they might draft, right? So
no, he's just. But I mean, Owens kid will be in camp. Trent Taylor will be in camp, and then you got Russell Gage, who's just a veteran kind of stopgap guy. Then there's Isaiah Hodgins, and I think Hodgins is actually a really good addition. I think he's a much better possession receiver than Ronnie Bell ever would have been. So I like Hodgins. So if you say, but look at the skill set. Taylor's a return guy, not fast. Hodgins is a big possession receiver, not fast. Gage is a possession receiver, not fast. Demarcus Robinson, he ran 4.59, 4.61. He's a veteran receiver, pretty solid, not fast. Tariq Owens is not fast. Cowing does have speed. Jennings, not fast. Pearsall, 4.41, but he doesn't really play to that speed, and Ayuk is not fast. He's definitely not fast coming off all these injuries. So you really only have one receiver, and it's 175-pound Jacob Cowing, who can really run and get deep. So to me, the Niners receiver that they do add, it doesn't have to be a first-round guy. It doesn't even have to be a draft pick. As I said, it could be Jordan Watkins after the draft. Go get somebody who runs sub 4.4. But can catch. Not Danny Gray, not somebody who's 160 pounds. Go find somebody who can run sub 4.4. Keandre Lambert-Smith from Auburn is another guy. He ran 4.37. Probably going to be a day 3 guy. But go find a receiver that can make some plays down the field for you and potentially add to either your special teams one way or another, or not. But, you need to have a receiver that has some scoot, has some ability to run by people. Right now, the Niners are slow. And they're one of the slowest teams there is.
And then you need a receiver that you're actually going to play. I mean, Jacob Cowing is nothing more than just an idea still. 4 catches, 80 yards.
Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot.
That's Jacob Cowing.
But
Shanahan
but here's the thing: rookie
fell down on special teams. He would run right out from under his own cleats. He slipped everywhere.
Yeah.
Jacob Cowing didn't shine on special teams to the detriment of him not being involved in the offense. He didn't do anything for anyone anywhere.
Yeah, but once again, rookie receivers, rookie receivers in college, they'll hold up like a gigantic, purple card. In the NFL, there's so many more nuances to the whole thing. It's so different that's why you see rookie receivers struggle, because they may in college, you know what? You're going up against a really, really good corner today. Okay, so he shut you down. He held you to two catches for 14 yards. No big deal. Next week, I got a guy who's not going to play in the pros. The week after that, I got another guy that's not going to play in the pros, and I'm going to have a great season. Well, imagine a season where every corner you go against is NFL caliber, and that's what it's like in the NFL. It's hard to get open against NFL caliber corners. So it's just
my prediction for this upcoming season is that the 49ers leading receiver will not be a wide receiver. It's going to be George Kittle, or it's going to be Christian McCaffrey's back and he was able to play all games and he's Christian McCaffrey again. Or it's going to be McCaffrey plus, Garendo, who is now used like Christian McCaffrey used to be used out of the backfield. But
are you talking about what's your are you talking about touchdowns, yards, or receptions?
Just straight up even receptions even.
I'll go Ricky Pearsall. If we're wagering on this right now, I'll go Ricky Pearsall.
Okay.
I mean, I just think Ricky Pearsall, once again, what I just said, rookie receivers struggle. And now he's going to year 2. And he's clearly working out. And, just talking to him at the end of the year, it was really clear to me that this guy is really, really serious about about football.
Well, I can't wait
And
to see what he
that's a
looks
big part
like,
of it.
with I didn't get shot off season, right? Good God. What he went through, the fact that he played at all, the fact that he was on the field for a snap based on what happened to him is nothing short of pretty impressive. So, I've got he ain't tough enough to hang around. He's probably tougher than anyone else in that fucking locker room based on what happened to him. So let's see. I mean, nowhere to go but up for Ricky Pearsall. I really hope he pops, man. The Niners need him to. Can we talk about a little business, Larry, that happened around the league that relates to the 49ers as we are all, breathlessly awaiting conclusion on Brock Purdy here? And I really do. I read an article from Dieter about how Jed York gaslighting fans that you can't pay wide receivers or free agents and a big-time quarterback all at the same time. Like, I thought Dieter had a really good article about that. And I am tired of hearing about the sacrifices the 49ers need to make for Brock Purdy. Like, he has literally saved all of your jobs. Just get it done. Geno Smith's extension with the Raiders, kind of an interesting one, Larry. He got a 2-year, $85.5 max deal, $66.5 guaranteed. Andrew Brandt puts that through the bullshit translator, and he basically says this is a 2-year, $65 million, and then we'll see deal for Geno. Given Geno is 9 years older than Brock Purdy at the age of 34, do you see any number there and how it translates to Purdy? I think Purdy's number is going to start with a 5. I think it's going to start with a 5. This whole if he could get this done for like 30 or 40, that'd be great. I just think you're all smoking something that means you're not attached to reality. The market says Purdy's contract is going to be coming with 130 to 150 guaranteed. And the annual average will start with a 5. That's just the way it's going to go down.
I mean, I don't know how it's going to go down, but I don't know exactly. These quarterbacks. It's like, this guy played and he gets he gets 30 a year. That guy played well, he gets 45 a year. These guys played well, they're getting 55 a year. I mean, Prescott played well, he's getting 60 a year. It's like, I mean, to me, it doesn't. There's not a lot of consistency there, as far as paying these guys. But people asking, Geno just got a 2-year, $85.5 million extension with $66.5 million guaranteed. Why can't we pay Brock that? Because Brock's better than fucking Geno. I mean, what are we talking about? Brock's beaten him 5 out of 6 times. Brock's been to the Super Bowl. Geno hasn't sniffed the Super Bowl. I mean, Brock Purdy's a much better quarterback than Geno Smith. If every team in football had them both standing side by side, everybody would take Brock Purdy over Geno Smith. So we're asking, why don't the Niners pay Geno why don't the Niners pay Brock what the Raiders are paying? Because he's way, way better. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, seriously. I mean, some of these people need to seriously check themselves. How can you say you're a football expert if you think that Brock Purdy is the same quarterback as Geno Smith?
It's insane. I mean, Geno Smith was such a failed entity that he was given up on by the franchise that drafted him to be a savior. And then, give Geno full credit, man. He stuck with it. He kept working. He got into a better situation. He made the absolute most of it. And in Russell Wilson's departure, he found playing time that might not have been guaranteed to him in any other way. And he crushed his opportunity. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about Geno Smith. Congratulations, Geno Smith. You saved what looked like it might be an unsalvageable career. He's basically Sam Darnold 1.0, right? He's Sam Darnold before Sam Darnold.
I just, the overarching negative Niner thing is just, it gets a little much. It's like,
it's
can we at least decide who sucks? Because basically, if you're in a world where Shanahan's an absolute idiot, Purdy sucks, the Niner O-line sucks, the receivers aren't any good, then, it's like, what are we talking about? I mean, so they're not, somehow all these guys that sucked made it to the Super Bowl last year.
If none of the players,
what are we talking about?
If none of the players on the team are good, that must be one hell of a coach. So how can he suck too?
Yeah, Shanahan's garbage and Purdy's not worth paying, but together they got to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And then the only thing about the Purdy thing that drives me crazy is how many quarterbacks operating behind the Niner line with no CMC, no Ayuk, and a diminished Debo, where that trio scored 40 fewer touchdowns than they did the year prior. And somehow Brock Purdy's not supposed to feel any of that. Brock Purdy's supposed to have a great year in the midst of you're operating behind a line that nobody thinks is very good and needs to be rebuilt with weapons who are largely hurt. But he's supposed to still just rock on and dominate.
Right. With a running
what are we talking about?
With a running game that no longer sets up a play action advantage, with a coach who is officially at the bottom of his bag of ideas and needs a refresh. Everything that could have gone wrong did. And it was a bad season of football from the 49ers, but you go back and you look at how that offense produced. That was as good of a team. It was as good of an offense as there was in football between the 20s. Like, they moved the ball an awful lot. Then they got to the red zone. They forgot how to play. But
once again, though, we're comparing him to Geno, though. I mean, Purdy's gone way deeper in the playoffs than Geno has. Purdy's got 4 playoff wins.
He's 25.
Purdy's 5-1 head-to-head against Geno. I mean, what are we talking about? He's 25. He's way better than Geno. I mean, what are we talking about? Why not just say, I hate Brock Purdy and I don't want to see the Niners pay him? And it's like, once again, it's like, you want Brock Purdy's not worth paying. You want us to listen to you. Kyle Shanahan's not a good coach. You want us to listen to you. The Niners offensive line isn't any good. Well, if Kyle's not a good coach and the offensive line isn't any good, then why isn't Purdy great? Because he's operated with this disaster coach and this nightmare O-line and didn't have 40 touchdowns that he had the year prior, but it's all him. I mean, come on.
It's nuts.
Okay. It's nuts. People just need to come to the grips with the idea that quarterbacks who are franchise quarterbacks they're going to make, generally between between 50 million and 60 million. That's generally the going rate. Now, people would say, well, Mahomes took 45. Yeah, but Mahomes also got a 10-year, $450 million deal. So he got a ridiculous amount guaranteed. I would say you're probably, and this is just a guess, I think the Niners want to keep it relatively short-term with Brock. If you're going to keep it relatively short-term with Brock, that means you're going to pay him at the top of the scale, because otherwise short-term, I want more dollars. Long-term, I can be like Mahomes. I can take a lower AAV. I can be like Josh Allen. I can take a lower AAV. But if you're going super short term, I need a very high AAV. So I would say if you want, 3 year, if he doesn't do anything, he's getting 3 years and roughly 100 million. If he just plays it out, what he's got coming to him, he's got 3 years and 100 million. So if you want him to sign with you, so you get a better way to spread that money out, it's got to be, you got to play ball in the parameters of that. It's got to be north of 3 years, 100 million. So that's 33 million a year. All right. So I would say probably 3 years, 150 with 125 guaranteed. And so you've got 3 years at 125 guaranteed. And then you've got another 25 million in incentives that can get you to, roughly fit. So you're basically got an AAV sub 50 million, but you've got the potential to have an AAV that's greater than 50 million if you perform. And I think to me, that's totally fair.
And this is a guy who has played for the NFL equivalent of free up to this point in his career. He's played for the NFL equivalent of free. His salary didn't even affect the cap. It was so low. That is the NFL equivalent for free. And for free, he's brought you to 2 NFC title games and a Super Bowl, and people still don't appreciate it. And all he is like a Boy Scout uniform wearing married, Jesus-loving, but not Bible-thumping, really good guy who has bought a fleet of cars for his offensive line before he can even afford to buy a car for himself. I mean, like, there's so many reasons to like this guy that the hatred really is the result of like brainwashing and just negativity carrying the day in conversation. You're lucky to have Brock Purdy. I'm serious. He's been a part of the exploding NFL franchise era valuations, and he's already stuffed hundreds of millions of dollars into Jed York's pocket and helped do that.
And also, Damon, when we talk about Brock and his limits, people are like, "But he's got Shanahan." But then we talk about Shanahan like he sucks. So what is it? Is Brock lucky to have Shanahan, or is Shanahan lucky to have Brock? It's like whoever we're arguing for that day, everybody else, you know what I mean? It's like if we're trying to argue that Shanahan's no good, then it's like, yeah, well, Brock's saving his bacon. If you're trying to argue that Brock's no good, well, yeah, but he's got Shanahan and the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, guys, at the end of the day, everybody can't be bad. Shanahan can't be bad. The O-line can't be bad. Purdy can't be bad. Everybody can't be bad on a team that was in the Super Bowl and is probably going to bounce back this year with a double-digit victory type season, even with a bunch of young players. So I don't know. It's going to get done. I don't think it should be record-setting money. I don't think you do either. I don't think most people do. I don't think that Brock Purdy should set a new precedent. I don't think he should get paid north of $60 million, but I do think and think strongly that he needs to get paid north of $50 million.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the go. That's the market.
It's the market. It doesn't matter how much you want to pay for these peaches. These peaches are going at market rate. Well, is the peach delicious? Can you guarantee me that? No. But they were brought here in season on time, and that's why they're at this market rate. Was it Lund who said it? You don't have to be best. You have to be the next. And Brock is the next guy.
But it doesn't mean that you have to set a new precedent, though. Like, just because Brock's the next doesn't mean he needs to make more than Dak. He does not need to make more than Dak.
Well, if everyone realizes and admits that that's a bad contract, no one else should be running to enter a bad contract, player included.
Yeah. But this idea, the other thing is he's your hardest working player. He's your leader on the team. Are you not going to take care of your quarterback and your hardest working player? I mean, this guy works his ass off, and as you said, he saved your bacon. So, and your owner just described him as a top 10 quarterback. Well, guess what? If I'm Kyle Strongen, his agent, I'm saying, hey, Parag, Jed said yesterday, Brock's a top 10 quarterback. We would like Jed to hold to that today and pay him as a top 10 quarterback. And if you pay him as a top 10 quarterback, he's going to make between 50 and 55 mil. And when in the grand scheme of things, with the cap going up, 50 to 55 mil, if Brock Purdy is a decent quarterback that helps you compete for Super Bowls, I think it's probably a pretty good rate, probably a pretty good price.
And here's why I want the Brock contract done, because guess who's about to be $20 million a year? George Kittle. Did you see Trey McBride? Just yesterday signed a 4-year, $76 million contract extension, 43 guaranteed. Good for him, by the way. How often do you say, great Arizona Cardinal, they're right to pay him that? He is really good. He's 25. He's coming off his first Pro Bowl. And if that guy is worth 19 a year, George Kittle, even at his older than Trey McBride, he's worth 20. George Kittle is without a doubt interested in being a career 49er. He's a good soldier guy. I don't think he wants to go to the mattresses and play hardball, but Kittle with a extension that is paying him market rate and where he sits in the market. And as Travis Kelce's career is in steep decline, I don't think there's much of a debate about who the best tight end is in football. It is George Kittle. You add what he does in terms of, run blocking to it. There is no debate who the best tight end in football is. And even though he's 31, Larry's coming off one of his strongest seasons, I think, in a 49er uniform. And as I told you, I think he's going to lead the team in receptions this year. He was targeted a career high 136 times in 2018. That was his second season. He had a career high 88 catches. Last season, he has 78 catches and was only targeted 94 times. So the guy, anything you throw at him, he catches. He's got incredible hands.
What's better, 111 or 78?
What do you mean?
What's a better number? What's a higher number, 111 or 78?
111.
Yeah, well, that's what Trey McBride caught this year. So I don't know if we can sit there and say that George is the best tight end. This guy caught 111 balls.
But what is Trey McBride regarded as someone who could play backup right tackle if he was asked to?
I'm just saying, I mean, the production that he had was far greater than what George had.
He was incredible. Trey McBride is awesome. But George Kittle, I think, has that production if it were asked of him. I think you put George Kittle in the slot, he's Jimmy Graham 2.0. I think he could have 100. I think Kittle could easily have a 100 catch season if he was force-fed a ball. Easily.
Well, I mean, that's what Luke Farrell is about, right? Because, you got George, unfortunately, wasn't in the pattern as much as he needed to be in the pattern because they needed him as a blocker.
Yeah.
So they set themselves up in a really weird spot last year. Pline, Braden Willis, Tongas, all their backup tight ends except for Saubert were all really receivers only who couldn't block. So then it's like Saubert had to play a lot, and then they wound up using him. But then they still trusted George to block, and so they used George as a blocker a whole lot more. And especially when you didn't have CMC, Ayuk, and Debo for a good portion of the year, you probably needed George as a receiver, and you didn't have him as a receiver because he was always blocking. So that's why they got Luke Farrell. But I'm just saying, I think, I'm not sure if George is the best tight end in football. He's among them for sure. He's definitely a great player.
I mean, I would put Trey McBride and Matt Laporta in a conversation that, with all due respect, Travis Kelce's still in.
Yeah.
But it's a small handful of guys that might be the best. And George is very much in that conversation. George is a Hall of Fame tight end. Yeah, if he never plays another snap, he gets hit by a bus today and decides, I don't want to play anymore, he's going to Canton.
Great player for sure. And he's, they'll take care of him, I'm sure. And he's coming off of a good year. And he's a great two-way player. And if they could find a way to get him in the pattern, they really need to. And I would say that this is probably a good draft for them to try to find another tight end. Not instead of him, but in addition to him.
Let's go ahead, hop into these supers, and then after the supers, talk a little opening day and maybe even a little Warriors. Sound good?
Okay, let's do it. We got 16 supers. Let's fire away. Fuji Simeon, what are your early takeaways of the Giants so far?
Let's use that as the last super to get to. We'll get to that in just a second. But okay. Good first impression.
Mason Davis, I'm thinking about making content for the draft and prospect breakdowns for future years. Any advice?
Go. Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Don't worry about, your first effort not being as good as eventually you'll be. You gotta walk before you can run. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I would say, pick players that you like, make sure that you're having fun. Don't try to, start some process where you're getting super deep on a bunch of players that you haven't spent that much time studying. Do the breakdowns of the players that you feel like the best.
Right. Talk about what you know. Don't let any amount or lack thereof of views deter you from doing more. All of the early videos that you do in your YouTube career are very much almost more for you than they are an audience, as you get to learn how to do it, the style, you get comfortable. So I would the single best piece of advice I got, and I got this advice from Larry and others as I was stepping into YouTube, was don't wait for perfect, because that ain't available right now. The minute you think you got something good, go.
Yeah. Just keep and have fun. Don't and if you got to remind yourself to have fun, remind yourself to have fun, but have fun.
Hey, Larry, have fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard sometimes if you do this every day to remind yourself to have fun, but you have to have fun.
Right. And by the way, don't let the negative feedback infiltrate you doing more of it. Larry and I are old broadcasters who spent 20 years on the radio, which means when it comes to audience criticism, the both of us are essentially dead inside now. It doesn't affect us. It will affect those who are not used to it.
Generally, it doesn't affect us. Fuji Simeon says, any UFL kickers you like, any UFL players you like. Yeah, I wouldn't be me if I didn't like a UFL player. There's a running back who played at Arizona State named Kalen Balaj, who was with the Dolphins, and he was a little bit out of shape, I think, with the Dolphins. And now I saw him the other day in the UFL rumble for a touchdown, and he's in the best shape I've seen him in. So Kalen Balaj, the former Arizona State running back, who's got pretty good size, and I think it's NFL talent. And he's in that UFL right now, but he's going to be in somebody's camp if he wants to be. He looked great. That'll be the one guy. As far as kickers, no. I'm hoping for the Niners to sign Nick Folk. Fuji Simeon, I can't understand why prospects admit publicly they don't watch film. Getting drafted in the first to later rounds is the difference of millions of dollars. This is in reference to Teteroa McMillan.
Yeah.
And I got off this guy weeks ago, and said, nope, not for me. I saw an interview that he did where he's like, they were like, Jaden Daniels or, Aaron Rodgers. And he's like, Jaden Daniels. And okay, that's fine. He's a young guy. But then when it got to Jaden Daniels or Patrick Mahomes, and he's still like Jaden Daniels, I'm like, you're an idiot.
Well, I mean, kids always like the shiny new object. He also knows there's zero chance that the Kansas City Chiefs are about to draft him with so I mean, I'm not going to begrudge that. My problem is he says he's like proud of the fact he doesn't watch film.
Well, and also he's just really immature. I mean, like if you saw the interview where he said all these things about these quarterbacks, you could tell he looks like he needs somewhere to park his skateboard. I mean, he just really came across as immature. So I'm not investing. And yes, if you don't watch film, you're probably not going to be good in the NFL. And that kid's, there's some people that are whispering soft about McMillan. We'll see. He's got great ball skills, but I like Luther.
He's got soft hands. That's for sure. I mean, he can catch anything.
Oh,
but
he's got good hands.
Yeah, but
if good hands, except once again, though, he doesn't separate. Like if you watch him, he's the corners are there. Like he's great in that. Like watch this guy. He can catch. He's a 3 flies up king. I mean, this guy's going to catch a contested ball. Yeah, show me where he doesn't catch a contested ball. I'd like to see that. And so far, I've yet to see that. Every ball.
Here's the thing. Work ethic is what you do and who you are when nobody's looking. And if you're bragging about how hard you do not work when nobody looks, why you would go public with that, which was the original question in the super chat. Stupid. Yeah, I don't know. Like, keep your own counsel. You don't have to say everything about like, hi, everybody, I'm at a press conference. Let me tell you about every single one of my bad habits and things you shouldn't like about me. It is a little nuts.
Or just, if you're really good at a subject, like this was one of those things. You notice if you're really good at math and you walk up to your algebra 2 teacher and go, hey man, I didn't study 1 minute for this test. It's not, it's not going to negatively affect your grade, but that teacher is going to be almost like rooting against you. And that's what happens when you start. I don't watch any film. Okay. Well, you know what? People start rooting against you.
Right.
Fuji Simeon, I'm in shock over the Warriors beating the Lakers. Why? LeBron is ancient. The Warriors right now are peaking. They hadn't beaten the Lakers all year. They may match up with them in a month in the playoffs. Last night was one of the easiest games to bet of the year. Take the Warriors on the money line against the Lakers. You thought the Warriors were going to lose again to the Lakers? The Warriors with Jimmy Butler now. The Warriors, when they're rested, are going to, fire. They're going to fire.
Man, the Warriors might have lost to the Lakers if not for Brandon Pajemski having the single best game of his young career. But the Warriors struggle the most.
Final. Then they win by 10.
But they struggle the most against length and at the rim. And without Anthony Davis, I think the Lakers just got a little bit easier for the Warriors to handle than the team that they had to handle with Anthony Davis. Now, Luka can go straight up thermonuclear on you, and now you got a problem. And you can lose the Lakers too. Yeah, Austin Reeves is a freaking badass. He really is, man. I like him. But I think the Warriors are a tad more vulnerable with Luka and LeBron to the Warriors and the way the Warriors play than they were with LeBron and AD. So
Steph's got this really sore ass right now, and it's really weird. Every time he falls down, it's like he's being tortured. I mean, it must hurt a ton. He's wearing like a gigantic pad.
You ever bruise your tailbone? That shit can linger, dude. There's one day I slipped down the stairs and I came down on my fanny, just boom. And my tailbone, I mean, it really hurt for like 3 weeks. That shit.
No, I believe it. I believe it. Steph was in tons of pain. But yeah, Pajemski's playing great right now.
I'll tell you, it's, I know that nobody wants to see the Warriors rest Steph against the Nuggets. But I mean, like, look at it this way. If Denver opens up big in tonight's game, this is a white flag game for the Warriors. Just pretend it's not even happening. I don't think they're going to beat the Nuggets. I think they lose at home tonight. So I would rest Steph.
Well, I mean, here's the rub on the Warriors. It's like, don't get caught up in this spring fling where they got Jimmy Butler and they're winning all these games that don't matter at all. None of these games matter at all. Okay. So don't get caught up in that and forget that you've got an old freaking team that needs to be rested.
Well,
I'd rather the Warriors literally no show the last 5 games of the season and have a rested team for the playoffs than do whatever in the final 7 games. I don't care about the wins anymore. I don't care about the play-in. I don't care about the seeding. I don't care. I care about the rest. If they're rested, they can beat virtually anybody in the West. I think they're going to run into Denver, and that will be it. But until they get Denver, I think they can take anybody down in the West.
Right. And look, Mitchell and Ness is in the chat saying, hey, a loss can push them back to the 7th seed. Had the Warriors lost last night with the Timberwolves winning and whoever else is behind them, who else is right behind them too, also winning, they could have fallen to the 9th last night with a loss to the Lakers. So, yeah, everything's very important. But like Larry just
what's
said,
more important?
Nothing's more important than a healthy Steph Curry. How about the
rested? The Warriors are gassed. I mean, I saw a couple people say that yesterday. The Warriors look really tired. Yeah, they look really tired because they're freaking old.
The Warriors could be the 1 seed, and without a healthy, rested Steph Curry, they're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so
the rest means more than the seeding going in my opinion. That's just obviously my opinion. Jalen LeGrant, my mock: Barron, Connerly, Savion, Jack Slater, Riley Mills, Rashard Smith, cornerback from UTSA, Curtis Rourke, Nash, tackle from Wyoming. Look him. Okay, first all, we need better punctuation here.
We need some commas. We need some commas.
Okay, so that is Jedi Barron. Okay, I like that.
It felt like he remembered the importance of a comma halfway through the sentence.
So I like Jedi Barron. Great pick. Texas corner in round 1. Then he's got Connerly in round 2. He's a great talent. He was a star player up in Rainier Beach, up in the Seattle area. He played running back in high school. He's 300 pounds now. I like him a lot as a left tackle, but there's some development needed there. Savion Williams is the guy we just talked about from TCU, who's like a Debo. Jackson Slater is my Sac State brother, the guard who was on the show a couple weeks ago. Riley Mills, you're talking about, you misspelled Riley there, but you're talking about the Notre Dame nose guard. Okay, I like that.
He's got my guy Curtis Rourke getting picked up.
He's got Rashad Smith, but I think what he means is Brashard Smith, and Brashard Smith is awesome. He's a running back from SMU who could be a receiver, and he's really explosive. I mean, like Rashard Smith, now I'm using your Brushard Smith is an amazing playmaker. And if the Niners got him on day 2 or day 3, people literally, Damon, by 1 month into the year, they'd be buying their Brushard Smith jerseys. He's so explosive. He could be a receiver. He could be a running back. He's a third down monster. The cornerback from UTSA is Ja Frazier. Really like him a lot. Big corner, ran 4.36. Curtis Rourke is Damon's quarterback from Indiana. Nash is that Nash the receiver from San Jose State, or is that Nash Hutmacher, the nose guard from Nebraska? And then the tackle from Wyoming, I think you're talking about Montana State. And I don't know. There's a lot of interpretation there for Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen, thank you very much for the super chat.
Moonman, Larry, have you seen the corner from Iowa, Sebastian Castro? He plays hard with effort and instincts and hits. He's a safety, but yeah, I have seen him. I like him. He's a big-time smart player. I don't know if I like him as an athlete. I've seen guys who move a whole lot better than him for sure, but he knows how to play, and he is definitely a good player. Jalen LeGrant, Betch and Purdy, first down factory. Betch is the TCU receiver, played opposite Savion Williams, whose brother got killed in that January 1st deal in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Betch is 6'1", 214 pounds. It's funny. Greg Cosell loves Jack Betch, and he's like, man, the combination of his route running, his smarts, his toughness, his hands. He likes Betch a lot. I think Betch is probably going to go in the 4th round, maybe the 3rd round. I like him. I just don't like him for the Niners. Why? Because they already have the chain movers. They need the guys who can make big plays down the field. I don't think Betch. I think Betch would be a great fit for the Dolphins. I don't think he'd be a great fit for the Niners. Vern Niner says, member for a month. A couple of days after the draft, the two of you should do an undrafted free agent video. Signed, Vern Niner.
Well, now you're in just prospect dreaming insanity. I don't think I would be any help in that video. That's where you'd just be taking acid and watching Larry.
Yeah, that video for sure gets done by me. I'm doing that. Rick James says, you two are ballers. Keep up the great work. We winning the division. Let's get it, my guys. All right.
Thank you, Rick.
Like that. Is that the musician, Rick James? Maitland says, Kruger, how come nobody is talking about the uncertainty of CMC coming back? I love him, but I think he's toast, similar to the Greenlaw situation. Yeah, this whole hey, he's over the double Achilles tendonitis. Sorry if I don't buy it. He hasn't played football in a while. I think the Niners absolutely have to cover themselves, Damon, this year. I think they've got to go into this draft and add a running back with the idea that running back is going to carry them all the way through. And then if whatever they get from Garendo, Abanaconda, CMC. Well, I'm just saying your season is going to go up in smoke if you lean on CMC and he's gone before you get to October. So you got to get another running back in this draft. And I think you got to get a really good running back in this draft. I'm on record as predicting that the Niners are going to go for Travion Henderson. And here's the reason I believe it to be the case. Bobby T likes guys who don't fumble. This guy had 1 fumble in his career. Bobby T and Kyle like running backs who block. Travion and Taj Brooks are considered to be the best blocking backs in this draft. The Niners like backs who can catch the ball. The Niners like backs who have speed. And Travion Henderson checks every box.
Is he a 4th, 5th round guy? That's a thing.
No, he's round 2. He's round 2.
So I just don't like the Niners going running back early in this draft. I don't like the Niners going running back or wide receiver early.
But what if I told you didn't have a running back? Because what Maitland is saying here, I think is spot on. I think for the Niners to act like CMC is going to be back, okay, but that's it's like it's possible, but You just got rid of JP Mason.
By the way, this is why I hate getting rid of JP Mason.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem getting rid of JP Mason because I knew that JP Mason needed a change of scenery and he badly needed to go. But you got to replace him. I mean, you got to. And the nice thing about this draft, you're going to be able to find a JP Mason replacement even after the draft. If the Niners don't draft a single running back, they still could find a player better than JP Mason, I believe. There's that many good running backs.
I mean, here's the deal. Like, I theoretically, you might be right. But in reality, that young man was leading the NFL in rushing before they gave up on him.
Well, no, they went back to CMC.
But then forgot he was on the roster as they went back to CMC.
Well, he also was dinged, we know, right when CMC came back. So there was a little bit of that. But the issue here is nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the fact that he doesn't want to be here anymore. They didn't want to pay him anymore. They feel like they can do better than him.
There you go. No, we got
the only thing I don't like is I don't like people who get into this. Like I was listening to this guy the other day who's a Niner content creator. He's a jackass. And I never would ever stream with this guy. And I won't name him. No, I won't name him. No, I'm not naming him. I'm not going to
tell me after.
This guy's such a fool, though. And he was going into, well, you're really just, trying to replace your third, you moved up in the draft by a whole round for your third running back. I mean, why not just say you're just up the Niners' ass and anything they do, you're just going to agree with if you're going to try to make an argument that trading JP Mason, as you said, the leading rusher in the league for 5 weeks for moving up in day 3 of the draft and a 6th-round pick, how you're now celebrating that. I'm not mad at the Niners for moving on because I do like the running backs in this draft, but let's not pretend that that's some screaming deal they got on JP Mason because it's not. It's not. Guy averaged 5.2 a carry. You gave him away for a 6th-round pick and moving up around on day 3, and you're going to sit there and lecture the rest of us how that's a great fucking deal.
I don't love it. I mean, I don't like it. I like the player. I thought that. Look, man, I owe you a steak. I didn't think he was going to get traded so much, right?
That's right.
By the way, we got to put that on the calendar.
We definitely do. Blood Moon. Gino is the guy whose teammates broke his jaw. Really? I don't remember that. Stephen Draper.
Who was it in the New York Jets locker room that smacked Gino like his rookie year? Clock Gino.
That. Yeah. It wasn't my turn to watch the Jets that day. Stephen Draper, pay Brock, front load the contract. I've heard the opposite. Pay Brock, backload the contract so you can build a team around him and he can have some success. We'll see. Sean says his previous salary is irrelevant. It's relative to his draft position, which was last. Whose fault is it he was last? What he's made this far shouldn't matter. You guys are going to pivot in 2 years. Sean, I totally disagree. Why are we going to pivot in 2 years? 2 years from now, if he signs for $55 million, which I don't think he's going to get, I think he's probably getting less. $55 million in 2 years is going to look like a great deal when there's guys making $75 million.
Yeah.
Once again, if Brock Purdy gets a little bit better protection at the end of the Super Bowl against Kansas City, he may have won a Super Bowl by now over Mahomes. But I mean, that wasn't related to him. That wasn't an action that he did.
If Nick
just saying, we're very close to this guy having already won a Super Bowl. And I understand his previous salary is not relevant. He's getting paid based on his draft position, but why should he take $35 million? Because you would rather pay him $35 million? I mean, why should he not get paid what Tua Tagovailoa should get paid?
Right. He should get paid more than guys who he's done more than as he's been playing in the league. Draft position now be damned. He's better than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was the #1 overall pick.
Making $55 million. Silent says the most asinine argument has been the Brock needs help to succeed. Every quarterback needs help to succeed. Every quarterback needs a good system to pay the man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who won the Super Bowl?
Well, that's the thing. There's no such thing as this guy does it alone. Not even Patrick Mahomes, not Dan Marino, not Joe Montana, not Steve Young. None of them do it alone. And there is no, well, if you took Brock, did you know that if you took Brock and you put him on the worst team in football, I bet you he'd be worse. Thank you, genius.
Well, I mean,
thank you.
But what about all the people who are like, if this quarterback against that quarterback, the better quarterback's always going to win. Well, I mean, I think we saw in the Super Bowl, there's no question that Mahomes is better than Hurts. And yet there was no question who the better team was. It was the Eagles, not the Chiefs. Why? Because it's a quarterback who can't do it by himself. And when Mahomes didn't have protection against Tampa, he lost that Super Bowl as well. The refs, I felt, bailed him out, to be completely honest, in the Niner Super Bowls. They didn't call holding at all. I mean, if you're not going to call holding at all, that's going to benefit bad offensive tackles, and that's what the Chiefs have. That is an asinine argument. Fuji Simeon, it's a smart salary cap move to extend Kittle now. I'll trust you on that. Fuji Simeon, home opener, early thoughts on the Giants start. Oh, he's coming back with another one.
Thank you, Fuji.
Let's get one more, and then we'll hit that. Jalen LeGrant was using talk to text Nick Nash. Oh, I got you.
Oh,
and
that's
the
why
tackle has a crazy Samoan name. Oh, you're talking about Issa I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you that tackle because that tackle's got a great name. Pole, I believe his name is Issa Pole, something like that. You're talking about the Wazoo guy,
Dick Pole.
Dick Pole.
Dick Pole.
Who was it? Essa Pole. Essa Pole. Yeah, Essa Pole is a really interesting player. He's a Wazoo offensive lineman. Damon, this is amazing. This guy did not play high school football, and he may make it to the NFL. And he's a Bay Area kid. He's from Hayward. He's 6'7", 320. His mom would not let him play football. Now, the interesting thing is his brother played football, and the mom let his brother play football. So it makes you wonder. He went to Mount Eden High School in Northern California. He didn't play football. He played basketball. But then his friend convinced him to try out for Chabot, because he went to Chabot Junior College, right here in the Bay Area. And he started playing. And he became the 9th best junior college offensive tackle prospect in the country by ESPN.com. And then enrolled at Wazoo and played the last 2 years of his career, 23 his junior year, 24 his senior year, at Wazoo. Started 13 games at left tackle his senior year, did not allow a sack in 498 pass blocking snaps, posted the second best pass block grade by a tackle in the country. I mean, which is pretty freaking amazing considering he didn't play high school football. His first football was junior college, and he went into the Pac-12, I guess the Big Ten.
Whatever it is.
Or whatever Wazoo's in. Wazoo's probably not in the
They didn't make the Big Ten either, Larry.
Or whatever he was in this year. But he didn't allow a sack and almost 500 pass blocking snaps and gets the second best pass blocking grade of any offensive lineman in the country. That is a pretty interesting player. Essa Pole.
He must have a combination of staggering strength and speed because he has developed, I'm guessing, very little technique to this point. He must have monster hands, and as soon as he puts his hands on you, you're just done. I mean, there's the good old-fashioned country strong, and then there's Samoan strong.
Now, wait, Jalen LeGrant saying I'm not talking about the same guy. He says Nafofia Tulifono. You gotta be kidding me. Let me see. Let me see if I can find Tulifono on here. Haven't heard of him. You know me. The one thing I will never do is I will never lie to the audience. If I don't know of a guy, I know enough guys. I mean, I'm always looking for more. I'm always looking to learn more. Right. I'm not the guy who's like, I've learned enough, but I won't bullshit you. You know what I mean? It's like if I know the guy, I'll talk about him for days and bore the entire audience.
Dude, I say I haven't heard of that guy all the time.
But if I haven't heard of him, I'll just say I haven't heard of him, and I haven't heard of him. Haven't heard of him. But there's guys I haven't heard of, and that's why like when I'm critical after the draft, I don't go crazy. Why? because I know the difference between doing the job and not doing the job. What we're doing is not doing the job. What's doing the job is sitting there like Greg Cosell or guys in the Niner complex, rolling that film back and forth all day, all night. That's doing the job. What we're doing is we're dabbling.
We don't watch film. We watch highlights.
I watch film. I mean, I actually will watch full games. But yeah, I watch highlights too. I'll watch whatever I can get my hands on is really bottom line. Justin says, I love Walter Nolan in the first round, but 11 seems rich. If the Niners can trade back and get another top 100 pick and secure Nolan, it would be a dream. I agree. I definitely think I'd like to start at defensive tackle, and I would love to start with Kenneth Grant or Walter Nolan. And if I could move back from 11 to 15, I'd like to do that.
I'm so sold on Membu that
he's good.
If it's not him at 11, move back. If he is there at 11, you got to draft him. You just have to.
The only thing I would say is that the Niners have talked up Colton McKivitz. So if you're going to draft Membu,
Shanahan talk up Brendel. You know what I mean? I mean, all these guys do is talk up their bullshit whenever given the opportunity to. So I don't think that there's really anything to be inferred from that. So
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's lying season. Maybe they're lying. Maybe they're going to draft Membu and move Colton McKivitz to left guard. That's a possibility. Maybe they're going to put Membu at left guard himself. But what I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see them draft Membu and then put him on the bench and play him off the bench when they need 2 defensive tackles, 2 linebackers, 2 DBs, a receiver, a running back. I mean, they have so many
snaps. They need snaps out of whoever is that first round guy.
Got to have a guy who can play. To me, the best opportunity to get your guys on the field would be if you got a defensive tackle. But you know what? It's a great defensive tackle draft. So if you decide, or if the Niners decide they got to have Jedi Barron or Jalon Walker, who I think is an incredible linebacker.
Look, all teams, rightfully so, from the head coach to the front office to the GM, are going to talk up their players, even if they don't like them, even if we all know that they're lying to us because we got the Pro Football Focus grades, 2 eyes, and we're watching as well. They're never going to rip it literally took Devondre Campbell quitting on them in real time for them to even admit, yeah, he wasn't very good. We all saw it in real time. Every single post-game show is, this guy sucks, this guy sucks, this guy sucks. He's starting next week. And they didn't say a bad thing about him. Wouldn't take him off the field. He had to take himself off the field. And then they were like, yeah, he was fucking terrible. Yes, we know.
That's going to do it for us today. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades. Thanks to LearnKey's Upskill Academy. Make sure you sign up for our LearnKey Upskill Academy April Draft Selection Challenge. You can win a $100 Visa gift card. Hit like and subscribe on both channels. Damon's going live in 15 minutes. I'm going live in 1 minute.
It's final day of spring break. I got 2 boys. I got dad duty. Jillian's got to work today, so I am not going to be popping on at 11. I'm going to be popping in and being a dad at 11 o'clock. Unfortunately, I'm not getting to opening day because of that. I don't miss a lot of opening days. How about this, Larry? That ballpark is 25 years old now. You want to feel old?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been great. I'll say this as far as the day, I'm gonna jump in right now with a Chase Senior live stream. We're gonna talk more Niners with Chase coming up here right now. So jump on over to that room and check that stream out. And then John Lund and I have a Friday night show called Bottom of the Pint, where we drink beers and watch the Giants game. But John couldn't make it today because he's actually going to opening day and doing a couple sales things. And Dan Coach Emilio is going to join me. So we're going to go live and drink beers and for every Giant home run and 7th inning stretch and web gem and have a good time today. So I'll be on at 1:30 today.
Over under on Kate Upton cutaways. Should she be in the ballpark today?
I'll say 2.5, and I'll go with the under. But that's going to do it for us today. Thanks to Damon. Thanks to all of you. Check me out with Dan Coach Emilio during the Giants game. I'm also tonight back on KNBR at 6:00 for Niners Nightly, and Raj Melwani will be our guest tonight as we talk a little Niners. That does it. Chase Sr. and I go right now. For Damon, I'm Larry. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
Hey.
Wait.
I know, he forgot to push the button. Push it,
Forgot to push the button. Forgot to push the button.